So I've been playing around with some concepts for a toy gun. Now, am I going to actually build this and try to sell it to Hasbro or Nerf? No, that's not going to happen. It's just something that reminds me of my youth and kind of what does this cliche toy gun look like. As you can see from some sketches here, I was playing with oranges, yellows, and blues, a little bit of purple in there. And, it's kind of like a modified primary palette, something that would appeal to kids, I guess. And the reason I'm designing this is not just because it sounds fun, but for the sole purpose of trying what I think is a pretty cool little program. It's 3D for designers. It's online. It's called Spline 3D. Go check it out. It's I believe it's spline.io is the URL. And there's a free version. You can jump right in there, start creating things, or import things that you've created in Blender or other 3D applications. So for example, this gun, I selected the revolver in the bottom right there. This gun I built in plasticity and then imported it right on into Spline. And you can see I'm kind of rotating around it to show that yes, we're no longer in 2D sketch world. This is a 3D object. And then I hit play to kind of show you what's possible. When I click on the hammer, it makes the barrel rotate to the next round, and then you click on the trigger and boom, you get this fun little bang visual. So let's jump back out of the viewer there and let's add some functionality to this. So you can see I'm building a square essentially, and I just eliminated a point because I want to make some arrows, basically different way to control the camera. So this is the same process that I used to program the functionality of the trigger and the hammer pulling back. In the end, it's basically all about creating different states for your object and then using triggers, not a gun trigger, but something that you do with your mouse or keyboard, some way of interacting, then that in turn drives or triggers a certain state to happen. So right now I continue to build these little triangles, basically directional arrows. So this one is for the front view, and this first one's going to take a minute, dialing in the material, the colors, and because I have the paid version of Spline, I have access to their material library, which they don't do materials like most programs like Blender or Cinema 4D or Redshift, Arnold, any of those. They're their own beast. So I found it helpful to get access to the materials so that I could reverse engineer just how they work. So now I've duplicated these triangles or these directional arrows, and I have them surrounding the gun. Next thing I'm going to do is use the plus drop down to add a camera. So this is the object that's going to be controlled by these arrows. Here I am adjusting the frame. This is the size that the window, the canvas will be once you've exported this and using it on the web. And with this camera active, I can kind of get it positioned where I want it. So I'm going to hit the plus icon on states. That's going to give me my base state. That's where it was when I click states. And then it automatically creates a new state. And with that active, I can adjust the camera to the new place I want it. You can do this in any order you'd like. The base state was essentially the left-hand side. Now this next state here is the front state, And so we might as well double click on there and rename it. Naming is good. That'll make it easier later on, right? And then just toggle between those two and you can see it's working. We'll go ahead and add another state. Rotate this bad boy where we want it. And there we are. The right hand side, camera's lined up. I'm doing this quickly. You can obviously dial this in, rename it to right state. Little toggle, everything's still working. That's good. And we'll go ahead, one more. 4 arrows, 4 states on the camera. That's what it takes. This time I went out of order and named that back state and then repositioned the camera. You can see somehow I selected the gun and so my states disappeared, so I gotta go click camera over there on the left. Thankfully it looks like it captured it. We'll just toggle through these one more time, double check. There are our 4 states of the camera for this toy pistol or revolver. And again, you can take what we're learning here and apply this to anything. This is the bare bones, the basic idea. You create states for something, and then your controlling object, in this case the arrows, is where you create events. So we're going to go ahead and select that first arrow. I'm going to do this on mouse up, and it's just going to be once. Trigger is going to be on this object. We're going to do a transition. Animation would probably be a good way to go, but we'll just call it trigger, and then you can play with the adjustments. You can see this has been sped up. You know, I'm leaving the same things here, just current, current to, and then change the state to the one I want, and do that 4 times. And now, here I go, clicking these different arrows, and on the mouse up, it rotates the camera. And sometimes it does a little flip like that, which I don't know exactly why it does that. It's just decided that, hey, this is the easiest transition from the current state to that state. And again, that's where an animated transition would probably be better as far as controlling the way it works, just the way you'd like it. But in a nutshell, that, my friends, is how you do it. So if you found this helpful, you want to learn more about spline, plasticity, blender, all the things, you just, drop me little comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.